Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm really sorry, it's been a little while since I filmed a video. In fact, I haven't filmed one in over a week now. It's been a bit of a tough week for us. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that Phoebe, not only did she get her jabs this week, she's also been a bit of a pain with her sleeping. But we've made some changes and I'm hoping, yeah, she's just down here if you can hear her. I'm hoping that some of the changes that we've made will have a good impact on her sleeping, and if that's the case, then at some point I might make a video about like kind of what I recommend in order to get the best sleep from your 3-month-old. She's 3 months old now. It's crazy. It's gone so quick. I'm sorry if she's making some noise. She's just under her play gym with some bells down here. So today's video is long overdue and it is going to be a pump review. So I breastfeed, I exclusively breastfeed, but I also pump and she is given bottles of breast milk for multiple reasons. Firstly, so it's a bit more freeing for me. We're really lucky we have family close by, which means even though we're in a lockdown, my parents can look after Phoebe for us, and obviously when they're looking after her, they need to feed her, and so I pump and freeze breast milk so that they can feed her. The other reason is obviously so that Phoebe's dad, Fraser, can also feed her, which is a nice bonding experience for them. And lastly, it means that we've just got another toolkit if she's not latching properly. Sorry, she's being so noisy. If she is really tired, so she's not latching properly, or if the milk isn't kind of coming straight away. Sometimes, you know, it takes a few sucks and she's like, oh, I don't want to do this, I need it now. Then a bottle works really well for that, because obviously a bottle, it comes straight away as soon as she sucks. So yeah, there are multiple reasons why we use bottles of breast milk as well as feeding from the breast. So pretty much from day one, in fact, I pumped a little bit, not pumped, hand expressed a little bit before Phoebe was born. Obviously that's colostrum and you only get like a couple of mils in a syringe. So yeah, that was when I started pumping, hand expressing. But since Phoebe has been born, pretty much from day one, I have been pumping, or at least kind of getting let down, and I'll talk about that a bit more when I go into the pumps. So I've been pumping pretty consistently, probably every day since she's been born. Usually if she's with me, so she's not staying at my parents', if she's with me, I will pump in the evenings. So I will pump at about like between 9 and 10 p.m. just so that if on the off chance she sleeps through the night, it sees me through better to the morning, rather than waking up and feeling really rough. Yeah. So those are my reasons for pumping. I would recommend it if you're breastfeeding, just as another option, and if you do want to introduce a bottle, you should do it sooner rather than later. You know, after even a month, I'm pretty sure that a baby just won't accept a bottle at all, because it's just not what they're used to. We introduced a bottle quite early with Phoebe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through, I've got 3 different pumps, and I'm going to talk through all 3 of them. I'm going to talk through the positives, I'm going to talk through the negatives, and yeah, basically hopefully this will help you make a decision when buying a pump. You definitely don't need all 3 if you don't want to have all 3. You can have one or a combination of them, but I think I've found like a nice balance for me personally of out of the 3 different pumps. Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about is this one here, and it is called the Haakaa. Please excuse if anything looks like dirty, I promise it's not, it's all sterilised. It just looks a little bit cloudy. So yeah, this is the Haakaa, and I'm pretty sure it's available internationally. I just got mine off of Amazon and it's really cheap. Let me have a look. Yeah, so this is $12.99, which is a really great price if you're starting to think about pumping or collecting milk. So how the Haakaa works is it doesn't actively pump any milk from your body. What happens is when your baby first latches, I can feel it, you know, like when the milk starts flowing, and that's called letdown. sometimes if your breasts leak quite a lot, that is your letdown kind of leaking. So basically what this does is it uses suction, so you squeeze it down and you suction it onto your nipple. It uses that suction, like that natural suction, to draw the milk out of your breast. Now sometimes from this I only collect, you know, less than 10 ml. Other times I can collect, you know, quite a lot from it just from the letdown. So it really depends. When I first started using it, in fact I find it most effective when either I feel my breasts starting to produce milk. So yeah, when I feel my breast start to produce milk, or when I'm feeding or pumping on the other side, because when you kind of feed on one side it often like activates the other side, if you know what I mean. So it's a good way to, whilst you're actively pumping, still collect a little bit from the other side. So that works really well for me. So an obvious pro of the Haakaa is the price. As the pumps go, I mean, it's not really a pump. I'll call it a pump for this video. But as pumps go, or collectors go, it's a really good price. Obviously it's pretty affordable for most people. And it's a really good way to collect. And you can collect quite a substantial amount from it, you know, if you really work at it. So I would definitely recommend it for everyone. As I've already kind of mentioned, it is useful because it prevents leaking. If I'm feeding on one side and the other breast is leaking, you know, then that's a good way to collect that milk without kind of wasting it or going into a breast pad or just getting everywhere. So definitely useful in that regard. The other thing that's really good about it is hands-free. Obviously once you've suctioned it onto your breast it stays there. Just make sure you don't knock it off because the suction isn't the strongest, and if you kind of nudge it and it breaks that seal, then obviously it will go everywhere, your breast milk will spill and go everywhere, which is always a shame, so make sure you're really, really careful. It's not kind of like run around putting the laundry out, but it is kind of more hands-free than one of the other pumps that I've got. So yes, those are the pros of the Haakaa. In terms of the things that are not so good, obviously it's not very discreet. It literally hangs off your boob like that, so you couldn't really use it like out and about. You kind of need to use it in the comfort of your own home. It's a bit of a faff with clothes and stuff because if you've got it on and like your clothes can knock it off. It doesn't fit in your bra like one of the other pumps that I've got. So yeah, it can be a little bit of a kind of bulky thing to be walking around the house with. And just because of the method of collection, it doesn't actually actively pump your breast. So it's not going to relieve you kind of, if your baby's staying overnight at someone else's house, you probably wouldn't survive with just this. Your breasts would still be very, very sore. So yeah, it gets less out of your breasts than actively pumping milk would. But yeah, it's definitely a good option to have, and a good starter pump as well. Sorry if you haven't already noticed. I've got Madam on my lap. Say hi! Hello! Okay, I've just taken Phoebe through to Fraser because she was getting a bit loud. So the next pump I'm going to talk about is the Medela hand pump, not the electric pump. I don't own that. I just own the hand pump, and I'm just going to quickly show you all of the parts and kind of how to put it together. This isn't obviously a like how to use it video, but I thought it made sense just to show you all of the parts. So obviously you have your bottles, and you can buy as many bottles as you want. I have 3, I believe, and they come with lids so that you can use them for storage as well. Obviously this is your kind of like pumpy bit, and this is your valve, so your valve just goes on that and it stops any of the milk kind of coming back. Those just go onto your bottle, like so. Then you have got your handle, which is what you need to pump with, so that goes on the top and that's how you would pump. And finally you have this little kind of funnel like thing, it goes on the end like that, and that is what goes over your nipple, and then you would pump it like that with your hand. So that is the Medela hand breast pump. and I will tell you about the pros and cons. Actually, let me just quickly tell you the price. I just looked it up on Amazon and I think you can get this for about £25. I actually got mine second hand. Obviously it's all sterile and stuff, but second hand is also a really good way to pick up pumps as well. But yeah, about 25 quid, so really not a bad price for a really effective hand pump. So yeah, like I've just mentioned, pros, it's really, really effective. I can get more milk from this probably in a shorter amount of time than with my other pump. So yeah, just the act of kind of doing it by hand, you know how to position your breast in it, and you know how to, like, you can control the speed really easily and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's definitely more effective for getting more milk in a shorter period of time. It's really, really simple to use. It's quite literally a hand pump. You pump it like you would pump water from a well in the old days. So yeah, really, really easy to use, really easy to put together, take apart, sterilise. So yeah, super simple. And another pro about it is it's quite quiet. Obviously none of these pumps, well, the Haakaa's quiet, it's silent because it just collects milk. None of these pumps are silent, but this one, that's just kind of as much noise as it's gonna make. Compared to, I know that the plug-in kind of equivalents are quite noisy, so it's not like you can watch TV and it's not going to be like over it kind of thing. So yeah, another pro of this one. Now, cons, it is a lot of effort. Hand pumping is effort. You literally have to sit there, I don't know, for half an hour, literally pumping by hand, and it can be quite a lot of effort. You have to do it at a time where you have nothing else to do, because like that's why I use this one at night when she's already in bed, because if I was also trying to, you know, feed a baby, or it doesn't work if you're breastfeeding on one side and trying to pump on the other. It doesn't work if you're trying to, you know, getting up, getting down, trying to do other things. You literally just have to sit down, put the telly on and pump, because you don't really have a choice. It's a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time. In fact, I would go as far as to say is you need both hands. You need one hand to kind of hold it and one hand to pump. So it's definitely not hands-free at all. You need both hands to be able to use it. Similarly to the Haakaa, it is not discreet. You're not going to be able to walk around outside and about doing it. You have to just be sat on your sofa in your living room, you know, like I said. It's not going to fit under your clothes. You have to just commit to the pump. And the last thing I would say is it can be a little bit sore on your nipples. Mine actually aren't as bad now, but when I first started using it, it can be just, I think it's that pressure and that suction can just make your nipples a little bit sore. So just make sure you're kind of not using it for too long at a time. Make sure you kind of take your time and introduce it slowly. But yeah, definitely a real good buy if you're wanting to, if you've got a lot of, you know, free time when baby's gone to bed and you want to get a lot of milk in quite a short amount of time, then I would definitely recommend getting a hand pump. Okay, and then the final pump that I'm going to talk about today is the Elvie. So let me, again, similarly to the Medela, I'm going to show you all the different parts. So this is obviously the electric bit that does the pumping itself. With it you get two different breast shields. They've got these little shapes on to show you. This one's got a square on, this one's got a triangle, if you can see. And they're just different sizes depending on how big your nipples are. You have the bottle, and that comes with a lid similar to the Medela, so you can use it for storage as well, which looks like this. Then you've got the more fiddly bits. So this is how you build it. So you've got your bottle with no lid on. You've got this kind of little cap thing that you pop on the top like so. Then you've got the valve, so obviously like the milk can't flow back up the way, that sits on the top there like so. Now that bit, all as it is, just plugs straight in to the bottom of the Elvie. If you want to take it out again, there's a button on the front that you press to release it. Don't just pull it out because it's only, you know, really thin plastic and it might snap. Then, like I said already, you've got your breast shield, and then this is the kind of like suction bit, and you've got to sit that on that top bit there. And that bit goes inside, and that is it, done and built. Then on the front you have all the buttons. Okay, so as you can see, this is the on button. This is left and right, so you swap that. That's more for kind of like keeping track on the app and stuff. So they know, the app knows which side you're pumping on. At the top you've got the play/pause button, which starts it and stops it. As you can see now, it's pumping. You can see that valve moving up there. And then we've got a plus and a minus, and that just kind of increases the suction and decreases the suction. So, pros of the Elvie. It's incredible. If you are going to pump and you are going to kind of commit to pumping freezing milk, bottle feeding with breast milk, then get yourself an Elvie. It is so freeing, like you can literally use it while doing anything. The only thing you can't do is like bend forward, because if you bend forward and it kind of looks like that, then it can sometimes leak a little bit. But yeah, it is so freeing. I really highly recommend it if you are looking to pump. So it is completely hands-free. The only thing is you need to be wearing a bra, because it literally just sits in your bra against your breast. Obviously your nipple goes in the hole, and that's it. It sits in your bra and you can get on with your day. You know, you can hang out some washing, you can play with your baby, you can feed your baby on the other breast, you can I literally was shopping in Brighton and I was pumping using the Elvie, just walking around town shopping. It is so freeing. It means that you don't have to, you know, be back to pump. It doesn't mean that, you know, your breasts are going to start leaking everywhere because you've got that option. It's quiet, which is another positive. I wouldn't say, they say it's silent. I don't think it's silent. It does make a little bit of a sucky noise, but compared to other electric pumps, it is pretty much silent. Like I said already, I could walk through town, no one could hear it. So yeah, definitely recommend it. It's very discreet for that as well. It's battery powered, so it's plug in and charge, which means that you don't have to be sat down next to a plug while you're pumping. You literally charge it up and pop it in your bra and off you go. So that's another real plus. You don't kind of you're not kind of stuck on the sofa next to a socket. You can be doing other things as well. It is really easy to use for an electric pump. Obviously I've showed you the controls very briefly and that's pretty much all you need. So yeah, really simple to use and get your head around. And yeah, like I said already, it fits in your bra, quiet, hands-free, so all the things that you would want if you're trying to do things at the same time as pumping. Now, of course, it does come with some negatives as well. The first being the price tag. It is very expensive and I am the first person to admit that. It is, I believe, £250 for one. Let me have a check. Yeah, so one pump like this is £249. 2 is £449, so you can get obviously 2 to pump on both sides at the same time. You'd need that if you're like exclusive pumping. Now I actually did manage to find like a discount code. I would say search for a discount code. Elvie quite often run 15% discount, so wait until they have a discount code and then get it rather than pay full price. Other breast pumps, electric breast pumps, are £150, so they're still really expensive, and I would say that paying that extra price is worth it for the freedom that you get from this. You're not plugged in, you're not, you know, your hands are free, it does fit in your bra, it's discreet, it's battery powered, you can walk around doing other things, and I think to me that was worth paying the extra money for the Elvie. Other negatives is that it can leak a little bit, like I've already said, but as long as you're not kind of literally throwing yourself around everywhere, that shouldn't really be a problem, and it's all put together properly. You know, you can still do things around the house or, like I said, walk around town using it without a problem. The app connection, it does come with an app. I don't use the app at all. I think the app connection is really dodgy and I think it's just a bit of a gimmick. It's supposed to be so that you can kind of track your flow, and you can also use it as like a remote, so you can, say for example I was out in town, I could put it in my bra but without fiddling with any of the buttons, then I think you have to still turn it on, but then like I can press play and pause from my phone and like kind of use that as like a remote, which is really useful, but I wouldn't say that I use the app kind of like to track my flow and to, you know, see this and that, because it's just not that great of an app. It's also supposed to be able to tell you how full the bottle is, like as it's filling up, but again I don't find that very accurate, unfortunately. But yeah, I guess it's a work in progress, and the actual pump is really good. The final thing I would have to say about it is I did have some sterilising issues. Now, part of that is my fault because I just bung everything in my microwave steam steriliser, and I didn't actually check on the Elvie instructions. It does say don't do that. So when I was sterilising this part here, so the breast shield, it warped because it was too hot, and it meant that it wasn't sitting flush against my breast, which means that there was absolutely no suction there at all, so it just wasn't working. Luckily they dealt with it really well. I got in touch with Elvie and they sent me a new breast shield for free and just a bit of advice saying how to sterilise it, and I now don't put it in my microwave steriliser. So even though it was a bit of a pain, they dealt with it really well. The customer service was great, and it was replaced for free, so that's amazing. The rest of it, I still just bung it in my microwave steriliser. Overall, this is a great investment if you are looking to pump kind of long term and you're pumping seriously. Get yourself an Elvie because you will find it so freeing compared to other electric pumps. So those are the 3 pumps that I use. Like I said, I think they're a great balance between, you know, getting a lot of milk but also having that freedom. And I would definitely recommend, you know, a combination of those, or even just if you get kind of one of them. Haakaa if you're kind of starting off, or if you're not too serious about pumping. Medela if you've got that time to kind of sit down and pump yourself, or Elvie if you're a bit more, you know, rushed off your feet, you're trying to do other things at the same time. Then get yourself an Elvie, you won't regret it. So I hope you really enjoyed this video and it was a little bit informative for you. And maybe it influenced your choice of what pump to get. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!